age of emergency room visits. These statistics, too, are on the increase, and again, are the result of forcing this behavior behind closed doors.
So the Amethyst Initiative is all about debate. Let me ask your position, though. Are you in favor of a national 18-year-old drinking age, or are you in favor of just getting the federal government out of the business of setting drinking ages at all?
Well, my own view is that, and it's not just my view, the Constitution is very clear that the exclusive authority to set the drinking age rests with the states. That is why prohibition, when it was enacted nationally, had to take the form of a constitutional amendment. But the problem is that the current law, passed in 1984, contained a very cleverly inserted provision, which says essentially that the states continue to have the right exclusively to set the age wherever they choose. However, this is a big however, if they set it lower than 21, they forfeit 10% of their federal highway funds. Why should we then be surprised that from that moment on there has been no serious debate about the effects of this policy in the one place where the Constitution says it should be occurring, namely in our state houses? My own personal view is that since 18 is the age of majority, and the law is very clear that you are a legal adult at age 18, that 21 is an incomprehensible and indefensible exception to that rule. But I also think that the genius of federalism ought to allow this debate to return to our state houses unimpeded. And the quickest way to do that is to remove this 10% penalty. Now, the transportation bill is up for reauthorization in the current session. And I and those who believe in reopening this debate are going to work very hard to see whether we can't get this 10% incentive removed. I'm quite confident that if that were to happen, we would see creative, fresh thinking about alcohol and its presence in the lives of young adults taking place in our state houses. And in my view, that debate is long, long overdue.
Well, I think you're certainly right about the Constitution. In fact, it's funny, I'm a professor of constitutional law, and I was just teaching South Dakota against Dole in my class this week, which is the case where that provision was challenged and upheld by the court, though I always found Sandra Day O'Connor's dissent more persuasive. Well, a 21-year-old drinking age, how does that stack up against drinking ages elsewhere in the world?
Well, the United States is one of 4 pace-setting countries on the face of the globe with an age as high as 21. And our viewers will win many a bet if they ask the person sitting next to them to name the other 3. In addition to the United States, Indonesia, Mongolia, and Palau are the other 3 countries with ages as high as 21. Most of the rest of the world has come out in a different place on this issue. And there's very little evidence either that the 4 exception countries possess either a greater number of problems or a higher level of wisdom, nor is there much evidence to suggest that those countries with lower ages have more severe problems or have strayed off course. And so the truth is that the position that our country has taken with regard to the drinking age is out of step with most of the rest of the world.
Well, President Obama ran with a big wave of support from young people, and, you might argue that putting the drinking age back to 18, getting the federal government out of the business, would be a suitable payback. Is there any word on how he stands on this issue?
Not that I know of, but I think you're quite correct, and I find it actually amusing. Young adults are more likely to find it offensive that when they question this law and point out that at age 18 you can serve in the military, you can serve on a jury, you can sign a contract, that in fact you are an adult in the eyes of the law, and in fact that millions of them helped to elect a new president and were energized to enter the political arena in far larger numbers than in the past. It would be, I think, politically inept for the benefactor of those energies to turn around and tell those millions who voted for him that they lack judgment, they lack maturity, that their brains are insufficiently developed, all of those patronizing and condescending things that, frankly, the other side has for too long said to young adults.
That's right. You voted for me, but you're too dumb to have a beer. Yeah, that would sell well. I can imagine that would. That's funny. Well, what can our viewers out there do to move this along? If they're interested in getting involved, you've got a website at chooseresponsibility.org. What else do you recommend that people do if they're interested in this issue?
Well, I would certainly invite them to come and visit our website. If they are alumni of colleges and universities around the country, they might want to check and see whether their president has signed the Amethyst Initiative, and if he or she has not, to encourage that president to do so. I think they might contact their elected representatives to say it's time to take the 10% out of the transportation bill and allow the Constitution and the genius of federalism to work unimpeded. And if they are so inclined to join up with Choose Responsibility, we would welcome them as volunteers in their communities. We are still a very small grassroots organization, but it's quite clear that this is a debate that the public is ready to have, and it's quite clear that not all the evidence is on one side of the question.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. It's been John McCardell. He's the President Emeritus of Middlebury College and the founder of ChooseResponsibility.org and the Amethyst Initiative. I'm Glenn Reynolds for PJTV. Thanks for joining us again.